Today's lesson is Chapter 4, Section 1, which is titled Ratio and Proportion. First, I want to clarify this definition of ratio, though, because a lot of people get it confused between ratio and rate. So here I set up a little chart so you could see the differences and the similarities between ratios and rates. First of all, both of them are a comparison of two numbers by division, which you'll understand more in a minute. However, the difference comes in with the units. If the units are the same, then it's a ratio. But if the units are different, it's then a rate. So I put some examples down here so this would make sense. Let's say that you wanted to compare the amount of hours that you sleep to the amount of hours that you're awake. So 8 hours sleeping, for example, and then that would have to add up to 24, so that would be 16 hours awake. Even though the numbers are different, your units are the same, hours and hours, so that would be a ratio. But if you're talking about speed, maybe speed of a car, and you're traveling at 55 miles an hour, again, the numbers are different. That doesn't matter, though. What matters is that your units are different. You're comparing miles and hours, so that is a rate. All right, so let's talk about a unit rate now. A unit rate, as the name indicates, unit would be one single number. So in a unit rate, you have a denominator of 1. So let's say that I made $57 for 6 hours of work, and I told you to figure out the unit rate. So $57 for 6 hours of work. In order to figure out the unit rate to make this denominator 1, you would just take 57 and divide by 6. Well, 57 divided by 6 is 9.5. However, I can't just put 9.5 because, first of all, this is talking about money, so I have to put the dollar sign. And then since it is money, I would make that $9.50. And I have to include the denominator, 1 hour. In the past, we've said, if the denominator is 1, don't worry about it. But here you have to indicate, well, you're making $9.50 per what? Minute? Second, hour, whatever it is. So you have to indicate what that denominator is. So this would be $9.50 per 1 hour. All right, next definition, proportion. A proportion is when you have two ratios that are equal. So you could see here this is a ratio because it's a comparison of two numbers by division, which is what that definition said in the front. Again, this is a ratio. You're comparing two numbers by division. Since these are equal to each other, that makes this entire thing a proportion. And we can prove that it's equal because if I just multiply 2 times 3, I would get 6, and 4 times 3 would be 12. These are clearly equivalent fractions, so that makes it a proportion. But what if they don't give you all of that information there? What if they leave something out? For example, 2/4 equals blank over 12. Now, obviously, you know the answer. It was in the last slide. But just to show you how to do these, in order to figure out what that missing piece is, you want to find the cross products. So you would multiply 2 times 12, and you would set that equal to 4 times whatever this missing number is, which we'll call it x, and then solve. This would be 24. In order to get x by itself, we would divide by 4 on both sides. So you would get 6 over here. The 4's cancel, and x by itself. That means that that missing piece is 6. Okay, you're probably familiar with that from previous grades, but now let's take it up to the algebraic level. This is still a proportion. This ratio is equivalent to this ratio. Except now instead of just having one term, we've got multiple terms in each section. So here we have x plus 4 divided by 5 is equal to x minus 2 divided by 7. We're still missing pieces, so you do it the same way we did before. You take your cross products of those two and your cross products of these two. Doesn't matter which one you put first, but I'll put the 7 first. So 7 times the quantity x plus 4, just multiplying these, just cross products, is equivalent to this cross product, which is 5 times the quantity x minus 2. And then we would solve that. So I wrote that more clearly on the next slide here. Separate your two sides. We have distributive properties, so we need to do that first. this would be 7x plus 28. And then over here, this would be 5x minus 10. There's no like terms to combine on the left, no like terms on the right, but we do have variables on both sides. Like I've shown you before, it doesn't matter which variable you move, but I'll move the 5x. So the 5x is attached to the 10 with subtraction. However, it's positive, so I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. This is 2x, bring down the plus 28. These cancel, and then bring down the minus 10, which changes to a negative 10. And now with the x, we've got the 2 and the 28. We need to move the 28 first because we undo addition or subtraction first. So I'll undo that with subtraction. And we get 2x equals negative 38. And then last, we would divide by 2 on both sides. These cancel, and we get x equals negative 19. Now, if they just asked you to solve for x, you would be done. But if they wanted you to figure out what the missing numbers were, then you would actually have to plug this back in for each of these. Because in our proportion here, we had x plus 4 and x minus 2. So quickly we got negative 19. So negative 19 plus 4 would be negative 15. That would be that quantity. And then negative 19 minus 2 would be negative 21. So that would be that quantity. So just be careful what the question's asking for. Otherwise, that's it for the day, guys. Bye-bye.